Howdy folks, it's Jeff here, and welcome back to the Raging Deacon Workshop. So good to see you. Thanks for coming. Listen, we're going to do a quick video today on a modification to my homemade drill press. If you didn't see me doing the homemade drill press on Instagram, here is a quick overview of the homemade drill press.
All right, so about a year ago, I saw this on Facebook Marketplace and fell in love instantly. So I hopped in the car, drove down to the guy's house, threw money at them, threw it in the back of my car, and drove home. And what I love about this, I have no idea what the backstory on this was, but this was either somebody's answer to like actually wanting a drill press in their house but not being able to have one or afford one and making it themselves. Or maybe it was just like their own little fun little project that they did, and I just loved it. And I know it looks dirty and beat up on here, but as you look closer at it, there are so many wonderful details. So that is why I loved it. So I wanted to go and fix this up. And this is what it looks like now.
Okay everyone, so today what we're going to be doing is replacing the usual brace bit chuck that you would find on a breast drill like this with a more modern and contemporary Jacobs chuck. And the reason being is that, two things. One, if you look at the overall height of this chuck, that's pretty tall. And look at it compared to this Jacobs chuck. Also, if you were to put, I don't have a brace bit that I can stick in here, but if you were to stick a brace bit in here and then try to stick a piece of wood under there, there's just not enough room. Even the smallest diameter brace bits are still kind of long in length. And so here we have a 1/4 size drill bit in here on the Jacobs chuck for comparison. I still have plenty of room under here to fit larger, taller pieces of wood. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to disassemble, and then we are going to talk about our plan for manufacturing and reassembling. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is our chuck completely disassembled. We are not going to be using this piece or this piece in our redesign, so we are just going to get rid of those. What we will be keeping is the original shaft to our chuck and this bearing assembly. Now, the goal will be to fit our new Jacobs chuck onto this shaft, all right? As you can see right now, that just doesn't work. The diameter of the shaft is just way bigger than the diameter of the insert on the chuck. All right, so the plan is that we are going to have to modify this chuck. All right, so what's going to happen is that we will probably take an angle grinder, and with a cutting wheel, we will make one cut right here to cut off this little ear. We will make another cut right here to cut off this little ear. I know I've drawn that crooked. I plan to cut those straight. Then we will begin to remove the current threads on this. So we will make one cut here, another cut here. We'll turn it 90 degrees, and then we'll turn it that 90 degrees, and then we will make one more cut here and another cut here, essentially perpendicular to the side. So we're going to get the shaft is going to become a square in this part, and then we will take it over to the belt sander and make it sand everything down to the proper size. Now, you're asking, Jeff, why are you doing it like that? Well, one, I want you to look at the shaft and the machine work that's been done on this shaft. All right, so we have one thing here. We have one feature that is this keyway. This keyway slides in and lines up with the gears on our drill like that, okay? We also have this groove machined into the shaft as well. This is for a set screw that holds the shaft in place so it doesn't fall out. And then way tucked in there, you can see another teeny tiny groove machined right there at the base of the shaft right here, that I think that just makes sure that allows the bearing assembly to ride smoothly against there. Folks, the answer is I'm not that good of a machinist. All I have is a drill press. I don't have a milling machine. I was going to try to maybe take some 1/2-inch round stock and steel round stock and try to mill a keyway, but I don't think I would be able to do that. So we're going to go the slightly more brute force way of cutting this off, sanding it into shape, and then we will thread what we've sanded down so it's the same thread pitch and dimensions, so that this will be able to screw on to our shaft and go into our drill press. That is the plan. So let's get to it. Folks, this is where we got to do our disclaimer. Just remember, I am not a professional. I'm a guy who just owns some tools. So if you decide to try to do something like I'm doing, make sure you're wearing that proper safety equipment, okay? And consult a professional. All right, on to the rest of the show. All right, good news and bad news. Good news. Nice cut on there. Plenty of steel left that we can grind down. Bad news. We went a little narrow on this side. Oops, let me turn it that way. We went a little narrow going this way. So we're going to have to come up with a plan. But I think first we are going to take things over to the grinder. Or, I'm sorry, belt sander, put on an aggressive belt, and we're going to take down some of these sharp edges. So, let's go do that. Okay, minor deviation from the plan. We are not going over to the belt sander yet. Instead, we are going to be coming over to the hearth, and we are going to be brazing on some additional steel to the sides of our shaft, the sides that we cut down just a little too much. And we will be brazing with some silver brazing, a silver brazing alloy, some safety silv 56. So first things first is that we will have to obviously, one, clean up all of our steel to remove rust and remove any oxidation. And two, we will cut this then down into, or cut out 2 pieces that roughly match the dimensions that we need to do on our shaft there. So that means we've got to go over to the wire wheel and then probably either back to the angle grinder or maybe some questionable cutting on my hobbyist bandsaw. I don't know. We'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to be abusing my wood lathe to do some metal work. We will be shaping the square end of our shaft into a round shaft. Normally, you wouldn't do this on a metal or on a wood lathe, but we're going to do it anyways. We're going to be gentle with it. We've checked it for how much run out or concentricity we have. We're only moving about 3/1000ths of an inch there on the shaft, so I think the 3-jaw chuck is holding it pretty good. And we are going to be starting with a file. The file is not removing quick enough. We may switch to something else, but we shall see. All right, I am calling that one a success. We I don't know, spent a good hour working on that. As you saw, we had to make a couple change in plans along the way. We had to switch. We started with the lathe. That was causing problems, and you know what? It's because the shaft wasn't very round, and there was a lot of what they call interrupted cuts. So it was hitting on the corners and pulling the chuck out. So you saw that we went over to the drill, or I'm sorry, we took the drill and we went over to the belt sander and really got it started to round out. Then we went back to the lathe, a little more work on the drill, and then we brought it home on the lathe. And I think, all right, success. So next step will be cut threads, then cut it to length to fit in the chuck, and then, folks, we're ready for assembly. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we have got everything set up in the lathe. We've got the shaft right here mounted in our Jacobs chuck, and then we have got the tapping or the die here pressed against the tailstock is pressing it against the 3-jaw chuck, and we are going to manually turn the handle, and we are going to put some threads on our shaft, hopefully nice and straight. right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call that about a 92% success. We got some threads cut on our bolt there shaft, and that was pretty good. We did have a couple casualties of war. First, you might have seen a piece of the bolt fall off, so I think that was where you remember back to the post-brazing discussion where we said we saw a little light through the bolt, and I believe that little piece, it was that little piece right there that fell off during the process. One of the jaws of my 3-jaw chuck fell out. I had the jaws kind of wide. I probably should have turned them around to be able to keep that V block in there. Anyways, we'll get that back in there. Let's see what else we got to do next. I'm going to put on the chuck. So I've got the chuck on there. So we actually want the chuck to actually come up to about right there on our, about right there on the shaft. So we're going to cut off about that much of the thread on the bottom so the chuck seats fully on the way up. I don't know, people. I think it looks pretty good, right? Pretty good. Pretty nice and straight. So, all right, we're going to cut that off, and then, oh, damn, I think we're ready to put the thing together after we cut that off. All right, that's next. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is new tool time, meaning that we are ready to do the assembly on the homemade drill press, and we're going to test it out and see how well our new chuck works. All right, we're going to give things a little test spin here, and let's see what we got. All right, yes. So, I do think I see a small amount of wobble. I'm going to go slow. Yeah, you know what? Definitely not a machinist. A small amount of wobble in there, but man. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. I think that's pretty good. All right, we're going to try that out on our board down here. We got it clamped down, ready to go. Let's see how this works. think we are all the way through. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that drill's just like a hand drill does with all of its starts and stutters and stops and everything. But man, all right. Got our hole through there. Very nice. Love it. All right. And then I guess really the last part of the final test is that then I should be able to unchuck this pretty quick, which is the other thing. And fairly quickly as well. And now that should be ready to drill. New piece of newer spot of wood right there. We can make it all the way down without hitting anything. Yeah, we should be good to go. All right. Come on, girl. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. There we go. We've got hole number 1 and hole number 2 right there, all nice and drilled. Yeah. I think we still need to do some work on the homemade drill press, but having that chuck on there instead of the bit brace chuck, oh yeah, that's like a huge giant step closer to making this thing everyday usable in the shop. I think we're going to have to add on some second dog holes on the side and get some more clamping on there. Just because I saw it pulling up there, but man, yeah, works good. So, hey guys, one final thing before we go. If you don't have a project like this, and I'm not saying you need a project that is a drill press, I'm just saying a project that may have no practical use, but a project that is fun, a project that lets you try things in like a low pressure kind of way, just a project where you can explore and learn. If you don't have one, you need to get yourself a project. This has been a project that I have worked, this drill press from beginning to now has been a project that I have been working on for probably 9 months now. I forget when I think I said I bought this a year ago. I worked on it for several months in little stages and spurts and bits at a time. But yeah, you know what? You don't have to do perfect stuff. You just need projects where you can learn and make mistakes. And if you make a mistake, oh, so what? So you know what? Drill bit kind of wobbles a little bit. You know what? That's fine. It'll probably work pretty well on little projects where like the absolute perfect hole is not crucial. So yeah, get yourselves one of these fun projects if you don't have a project going on in your workshop. All right. See you guys later. Howdy, folks. Thanks again for watching another episode of the Raging Deacon Workshop. I want to take this time to encourage you to donate any unused tools that you might have. Many of us have that one drawer or that one toolbox over here that hasn't been opened in years, possibly decades. You know, they probably contain those tools, odds and ends tools that we got for presents or we got from our neighbors. And sometimes we don't even know where we got them from. I know that from watching many other online tool enthusiasts that there are a lot of tools that belong to what I call the distinguished league of resting tools. And an idle tool does nobody any good. So, if you have one of those drawers or one of those toolboxes, please consider donating those tools to a local charity of your choosing. Your donation could help an aspiring mechanic, creator, machinist, or even a DIY enthusiast save a few bucks. So whether you choose to donate to Goodwill or to Restore or to your local thrift store, remember, a good tool is more than just a tool. A good tool is an opportunity, and everyone deserves a good tool. Thank you for your consideration.